There's one book that almost every serious AI builder is quietly reading right now. It's been the single most read book on O'Reilly since the day it came out. It's called AI Engineering by Chip Huyen, and it's basically the missing manual for building real products on top of models like GPT, Claude, and Gemini. There's just one problem. It's over 500 pages. So here's the deal. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the entire book, every chapter, the big ideas, and the one mental model that ties it all together. I'll tell you honestly whether you should actually read it and who should skip it. And right at the end, I'll show you how to read huge chunks of it completely free. Let's get into it. First, what is this book and why should you trust it? AI Engineering was written by Chip Huyen. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because she also wrote Designing Machine Learning Systems, one of the most respected machine learning books out there. She's worked on AI at companies like Nvidia and Snorkel and taught at Stanford. The book came out in January of 2025, runs about 530 pages, and sits above 4.5 stars on Goodreads. But here's what makes it special. This is not a book about the theory of AI. It's a book about the messy, practical reality of shipping AI applications that actually work in production. And it opens with one big claim that reframes this entire field, that there's a brand new job that barely existed a few years ago, the AI engineer. Let me explain what that actually means. Here's the core idea of the whole book. For years, building with AI meant being a machine learning engineer, gathering data and training a model from scratch. That took a team, a fortune, and months of work. Foundation models flipped that completely. Now, the most powerful models on earth are available with a single API call. So the job changed. The AI engineer doesn't train models. They build on top of models that someone else already trained. And Huyen argues that one shift changes everything. Your competitive edge is no longer the model, because everyone can call the same model. Your edge is how you select it, adapt it, evaluate it, and wrap it in a great product. In fact, she says AI engineering moves closer to product than traditional engineering ever did, because the real modes are user experience and the data flywheel you build. That shift from training models to orchestrating them is the lens for all 10 chapters. So let's walk the book. I've grouped it into 5 arcs. Arc 1, Foundations, chapters 1 and 2. Chapter 1 sets the stage, tracing how we went from simple language models to the giant multimodal foundation models we have today. And it asks a question most people skip in their rush to build. Should you build this AI app at all? It maps out 8 categories where this tech genuinely delivers, from coding and writing to conversational bots and workflow automation. Chapter 2 is your crash course in how foundation models actually work. Not how to train one, but what you need to understand as someone using one. Training data, model architecture, scale, and a step most people have never heard of: post training. That's where a raw model gets aligned to human preference using supervised fine tuning and preference fine tuning. And it nails the single most important fact about these models: they're probabilistic, they sample. That one property is the source of both their creativity and their hallucinations. Arc 2. And Huyen calls this one of the hardest but most important topics in the entire field: evaluation. Chapters 3 and 4. Here's the trap most teams fall into: they ship AI on vibes. It looks good, so they push it. This book replaces the vibe check with a real system. Chapter 3 covers the methodology, metrics like perplexity, and 3 ways to evaluate open ended answers: functional correctness, similarity scores, and the fast growing approach of using AI as a judge. With a sharp warning: 2 different AI judges scoring the same thing might not even agree, so you can't fully trust them alone. Chapter 4 zooms out to evaluating whole systems. How do you actually pick a model? She reframes it beautifully. Your job isn't building a model, it's model selection. You weigh hosting it yourself versus using an API across 7 dimensions. You watch out for benchmark contamination, and you build what she calls a private leaderboard, ranking models on your needs, not some public chart. Arc 3 is the heart of the book, and it's a ladder. When your AI isn't good enough, you have 3 ways to improve it, from cheapest to most expensive. The rule: climb only as high as you actually have to. Rung 1, Chapter 5: Prompt Engineering, the cheapest fix of all. Huyen defines it simply: crafting an instruction to get the model to do what you want, and frames it as human to AI communication. It is easy to start and genuinely hard to master because models are weirdly sensitive to how you ask. She covers the anatomy of a good prompt, in context learning, giving the model examples right inside the prompt, and even prompt attacks, the security side, with an honest admission. No defense here will ever be completely foolproof. Rung 2, Chapter 6: RAG and Agents. Early readers call this the most exciting chapter in the book, and it's where a huge amount of real product work lives. RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, was born to beat the model's limited memory, its context window. You fetch the right documents first, then let the model answer using them. Bonus: it often improves quality and cuts cost at the same time. She splits retrieval into 2 camps: old school term based search like BM25 and modern embedding based vector search. Then come agents, where the model stops just answering and starts doing. It becomes a planner that breaks down a task, picks the right tools, and uses memory and reflection to work through it. But there's a catch she's blunt about. Every tool you add makes the agent more capable and more dangerous, opening the door to catastrophic failures. And crucially, both RAG and agents are still prompt based. They never touch the model itself. Rung 3, Chapter 7: Fine Tuning, the top of the ladder, and the only rung that actually changes the model. Huyen says this was the hardest chapter in the entire book to write. And she takes on the question everyone asks: when should you fine tune instead of just using RAG? The honest answer: fine tuning is the powerful, expensive last resort. The good news is the techniques have gotten cheap. She covers PEFT, parameter efficient fine tuning, and especially LoRa, which is popular because it's efficient and modular. You train tiny adapters and swap them in and out, plus tricks like quantized training and model merging. But here's the line that really sticks: fine tuning itself is easy. Getting good data to fine tune on, that is the hard part, which is the perfect setup for the next arc. Arc 4: Fuel and Speed, chapters 8 and 9. Chapter 8 is Dataset Engineering, and it's the unglamorous secret behind every good AI product. Every dataset comes down to 3 things: quality, coverage, and quantity. And the headline lesson: a small amount of high quality data beats a giant pile of noisy data every single time. She digs into generating synthetic data to fill the gaps, with one firm rule: synthetic data has to be evaluated before you ever train on it. And a quiet truth anyone who's done it knows: annotation is hard, but writing the annotation guidelines is even harder. Chapter 9 is Inference Optimization Day. What makes a model actually usable in production? Because a brilliant model that's slow and expensive is useless. She splits latency into 2 numbers: time to first token and time per output token, and walks the toolkit: quantization, distillation, prompt caching, batching, and more. This is how you make AI fast enough and cheap enough to ship. Arc 5, the final chapter, chapter 10, is where she zooms all the way out. After 9 chapters of individual pieces, she assembles them into one complete reference architecture for a real AI application, building it up component by component, including exactly where to put your guardrails to keep the system safe. And then she closes the loop she opened back in chapter 1. The most valuable thing a conversational AI gives you is user feedback. And that feedback is the fuel for a data flywheel. That's the moat, the thing that's genuinely hard for a competitor to copy. Her parting thought ties the whole book together. Most AI failures aren't model problems, they're system problems. And that is exactly why AI engineering keeps moving closer to product. So, is it actually worth reading? Here's my honest take. What's great? It explains genuinely hard ideas with examples, diagrams, and stories instead of walls of math. It's relentlessly practical. It stays balanced, no hype, no doom, and it lands in that rare sweet spot between a shallow blog post and a dense academic textbook. If you want to stop guessing and start evaluating, it's fantastic. But it's not perfect, and I won't pretend it is. It's light on ethics, governance, and fairness. So if you work in healthcare, finance, or law, you'll need more than this. It leans heavily on text and language. So vision and audio people have to extrapolate. And it's written in prose and experience, not rigorous math. So if you came for proofs and equations, this isn't that book. Most importantly, this is not a book for training models from scratch. And it's not for total beginners with zero machine learning background. It assumes you're ready to build. So, how should you actually read it? The book is designed to be read front to back. It deliberately climbs that adaptation ladder and ends with the big architecture, but it's modular enough to attack by role. If you're a founder, a product manager, or a tech lead, and you want the strategy, read chapters 1, 4, and 10. What to build, how to choose models, and the full architecture. If you're a hands on engineer, chapters 5 through 9 are your working core prompting, RAG, fine tuning, data, and inference. And if the fundamentals feel shaky, start with chapters 2 and 3 before anything else. One tip every reviewer agrees on: read it with a notebook open and a project in progress. It's a doing book, not a reading book. And honestly, it makes a great team text. Get everyone aligned on how you actually build. Finally, where do you get it? AI Engineering by Chip Huyen is on Amazon in paperback and Kindle on the O'Reilly platform. And there's a great audiobook, almost 16 hours of it. But here's the free part I promised. Chip Huyen put a companion repo on GitHub completely free with the table of contents, her own chapter summaries, study notes, a curated resource list, prompt examples, and real case studies. It's one of the best free AI engineering resources online, and most people have no idea it exists. And to make this even easier, I built a free one page cheat sheet. Every chapter, the adaptation ladder, and the reading order map, all on a single page you can pin above your desk. Want it? Just comment the word OWL and I'll send it straight to you. If this breakdown helped you, do 3 quick things. Subscribe here on YouTube and follow Hyper Automation Labs on Facebook and Instagram, where I break down AI like this every day. My deeper paid guides are linked down below if you want to go further. Now go build something. See you in the next one.